if I'm at work and somebody come up to me and say, hey, Richie, Tracy is such a bitch. She is such a bitch. I can't stand her. Have she been a bitch to you? And I would be like, well, no, Tracy hasn't been a bitch to me. You know, we've been eating lunch together every day. We even went to happy hour after work on Friday. She hasn't been a bitch to me. And then for the other person to say, well, you know what? You as being someone who work at this company should be able to relate to the fact that Tracy is being a bitch or that people in here is being a bitch to each other. And I'm just like, well, I'm sorry, I can't really.
Everybody, it's Richie White, and I'm back with another video. Once again, while I'm deep conditioning my hair. But in this video, I want to talk about the Eat with Q versus B.Love's Life collab. I don't want to talk about it in a way of who's right and who's wrong. I actually want to talk about it in kind of like some social way. I don't want to say psychology because I'm not a psychologist, but I am a person, and I'm a person who knows people. So, and I know how people act. So I just want to talk about it in a way in which maybe somebody can take it and maybe look at themselves and say, hey, I do that, or hey, yeah, I see people do that a lot. I don't like it. If any of you don't know who Eat With Q is and who B.Love Life is, they are mukbangers. What they do is they sit in front of the camera, they have conversation with you, and a lot of people like this genre on YouTube, including myself. I do like to watch people eat food. Not specifically, but I just like to see like what they're eating because I like food. But anyway, so B.Love Life is a much larger mukbanger than Eat With Q. Eat With Q currently has like 360,000 subscribers, and B.Love Life is almost at a 2 million mark, which is amazing. So, where this started was Q came out with a video just talking about her experience with B.Love Life. So pretty much, B.Love's Life invited Eat With Q to come and have a collaboration with her, which B.Love Life does often, because she always makes it her mission to help smaller YouTubers to grow their channels, and she know that she has the power to do that because her fans go strong for her. That anybody that she collab with, you know they solid people, and they go over and to subscribe with her. Eat With Q at the time, before the collaboration, or at the time of collaboration, she was at 99,000 subscribers and was on her way to 100,000 subscribers. So the collaboration actually did help her numbers out a lot. So I'm going to talk about the situation in the order that Eat With Q put it out there. And I watched both of her videos. There's a part 1 and a part 2. Most of my notes that I took is off of the part 2 video. Off of the part 2 video. So, once again, I'm talking about what we can learn from her video as far as how we interact socially. That's pretty much all I want to dig in. I don't want to be biased. Even though I think a lot of the reviews of this is biased because it obviously feels like one person is right and one person is wrong, even though nobody is wrong about the way that they feel. And I'll put that out there. No one is wrong about the way they feel. You feel how you feel about whatever you feel because that's how you feel it, especially if it's genuine to you. So, the first thing she started off by saying is that she was not going to do any more collaborations based off of this one experience. And I have an issue with that because I feel like one bad experience shouldn't ruin every other experience you can gain in the future. Don't let one bad thing ruin the rest of your life. Just because you had a bad experience, at a job, at your very first job, does that mean that you're going to be unemployed for the rest of your life? You know what I'm saying? You cannot let one bad thing that happened to you affect everything else in your life. You shouldn't let one bad experience affect anything else in your life and how you operate. That would just leave you, in my opinion, a little empty, because you're going to be missing out on so much just because you allow one thing to scare you off from everything else. The second thing that she said about that situation that kind of like made me clutch my pearls is first impression should be your last impression. And I don't agree with that. I understand the concept of like the way that you meet somebody is the way that they are, but I, based on my experience, that's not always the truth. It's plenty of times where I meet people and we have a great time, we have a good time, I'm being my best self, and then the second time I'm a little bit more subdued, a little bit more closed in, and they're like, "Oh, what's wrong with you? Last time I seen you, you was hyping this and that," and I'm kind of like, "Well, girl, the last time you see me, I was already like probably drank a half a bottle of cognac or something. I don't know. I'm like, just wait until I get a few more sips and I'll be back to that me that you met me. But that's not always me. That's not always who I am. And it's been vice versa. It's been plenty of times where I meet people and I'm just like in my own head, in my own space. And then the second time I meet them, I'm hyped up. I'm giving life. I'm just doing me and I'm being that part of myself. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I thought you were just so stuck up. I thought that you was this way and that way, but I see you so fun." And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's just how it is. That's just how people are. You're always not going to be the same person all the time. And I don't agree with this statement at all of your first impression should be the last impression. Now, maybe the third impression, if they're the same way the first time you met them, then yeah, but I don't agree with you should allow somebody's first impression be the last impression. It might be a lasting impression, but I don't think it should be the last or the only way that you see this person, because this person can actually be somebody who may be a good part of your life. You just met them on a bad day. Somebody in their family might have died that day. You never know. So I really don't think you should take that concept in your head and store it up and eat it. Don't allow yourself to be that person. The other thing that I kind of want to hit on, the part that was kind of really like eating at me, was when she was kept saying that it was a business move and they were acting like she was begging and she was begging and she was begging. And I'm just kind of like, because you are having a time with this, or you you really don't like what's going on, you see them as them looking down on you, you can't put that on them, and you can't put that, you cannot put that perception of you on them. That's not fair. You cannot think that they look at you as lower or that you were begging for something unless it was actually said out their mouth. You don't know if that's how they really feel about you or how what it is now. If that's how you felt because this was somebody that was doing so much better than you at the time, or that is probably still doing much better than you at the time, and you're looking at yourself as somebody who's lower, who doesn't have as much, and you see how their life is and how their career is, and they invite you into their life, now you feel as though that you're begging. It does not work like that, sweetie. I am somebody who, I have had a lot of rich friends, and I'm not rich. But they invited me into their home and invited me to do things with them, and I never once felt like they treated me as if I wasn't just as wealthy as them. But I can see where if I was somebody who had the mindset of lack, or the mindset where I didn't feel like I am as not as great as those people, then I could see myself falling into the trap thinking that they were using me as a charity case. Pretty much. Eva Q said that when she got to the town of Mason, Ohio, she felt some bad vibes, she felt some kind of way, and she kind of alluded to the fact that it was racism. So when she said that, I wanted to do my research on the town of Mason, Ohio, and according to the 2010 census, that the town of Mason, Ohio is about 85 to 86% white, and then the other races make up the other 15%. The other 15%. Um, and only 3% of that 15% is black. When I read that, I was like, she got something there. She definitely got something there, because if 85% of the town is white and only 3% of the town is black, they not used to seeing us. They definitely not used to seeing us. So I definitely think that her what she felt was true. I definitely think what she felt was true. But what she said was, she called B.Love's life and was like, "Hey, we got into the town. We're feeling bad vibes." And was trying to allude to say, "Hey, girl, what's going on in this city? Are they racist?" And B.Love's life was like, "Oh, no, everybody's fine. Everything is fine, everything." And then Q was kind of like, "Well, as a black woman, you should relate to the fact that I felt some sort of racism." And I was just like, okay. And then what B.Love's life and her husband was pretty much saying is like, they can't relate. They can't relate to feeling how they feel. I did some research on what B.Love's life and her family previously lived at, which was the state of Wisconsin. I don't know the exact city, but in my research, I found that Wisconsin pretty much has the same stats as the new town of Mason, Ohio. It's a 85%, um, 85% white people and 15% of everyone else. So I kind of feel like maybe B.Love's life and her family are probably kind of resistant to any racism because they might be used to it. And also, I kind of feel like B.Love's life and her family might not be the type of people that jumps to racism if somebody treats them, a wrong way. They might be like, "Oh, she's just having a bad day," or "Oh, this and oh that." And I feel like probably maybe because they're so used to it, or just maybe they're just so nice in their heart that they just don't see that in people. I don't think that they're oblivious to racism, because B.Love Life has said in previous videos that she is from Chicago, and we know the first place that we learn racism is in the hood. I know I did. And also, what I know is that in a video, Daddy Chunk Chunk, her son, girlfriend, was in a video with B.Love's life, and I believe I might be wrong, but I believe she said that she was having issues with her family because her family um, didn't approve of her and Daddy Chunk Chunk being together because he was black. So I definitely don't think that the family is oblivious to racism. I just don't think that they. I think it goes past them. I think they're just at a point where it goes past them. And it's kind of hard for me to say, well, it's not kind of hard for me to say, you can't be mad at somebody for not relating to you. If you can't relate, you just can't relate, and that's it. Like, if I'm at work and somebody come up to me and say, "Hey, Richie, Tracy is such a bitch. She is such a bitch. I can't stand her. Have she been a bitch to you?" And I would be like, "Well, no, Tracy hasn't been a bitch to me. We've been eating lunch together every day. We even went to happy hour after work on Friday. She hasn't been a bitch to me." And then for the other person to say, "Well, you know what? You, as being someone who work at this company, should be able to relate to the fact that Tracy is being a bitch, or that people in here is being a bitch to each other." And I'm just like, "Well, I'm sorry, I can't relate because Tracy is fine with me." Like, you can't get mad at me for that. And you just cannot get mad at somebody for not being able to relate to you on a subject that they just can't relate to. It may not that they can't relate to racism, they just can't relate to racism in their town. Another thing that she said is that when she came into B.Love's house, that no one came down to greet her, and that especially her husband probably heard that they was there and didn't come out of the workspace to come greet them, and she actually had to go. Excuse me, had to go to him to greet him, and she was saying that that's not something that her boyfriend would do. And I had a problem with that because I'm like, you can't expect somebody's husband to be like your boyfriend. People don't work that way. It's not one sided. She was saying that how grown men shouldn't have to warm up to her, speaking for the youngest son, Darius, shouldn't have to warm up to her like kids have to. It's like you can't do that. You cannot compare oranges to apples. And what I mean by oranges to apples, I mean person to person. You cannot expect one person to be the same as the next. It doesn't happen like that. Life is not like that. Everything is a different experience for everyone. And you don't know what Darius go through. He may have like social anxiety and you don't know that. You may not even know that. I don't know if he does or doesn't, but he may. And we never know that. And just because you see him like hype and live on camera does not mean that's how he's going to be in real life. Because guess what? When he's on camera by himself, or he's on camera with his family who he's comfortable with. So he's going to act like that because why? He's in a comfortable environment. But you are a stranger that he never heard of and never met. Why is he going to be so active and live? Like, I don't understand that mentality of people really perceiving that everybody is one dimensional. Nobody is one dimensional. Everybody has different sides to them. And yes, some people have to warm up to you. I used to be like that. I'm not like that now. But I used to be like, I would sit and observe you before I would even really get social interaction with you. Now I'm the type of person, I'll come up and say hi to you, try to make friends. If I feel like, then I'm going to pump the brakes on that and move on. But I think it's unfair for you to expect people to be one way or to be exactly who you think they are. Like, that's not fair at all. Another thing I didn't like, going back to Darius, and I just didn't like the fact that she kind of threw a slur at him when she said, oh,
Honey, the queen has came down.
like, first of all, why? Like, why do you even have to make that slur? For what? What purpose? What reason were you getting out of it? What? First of all, as a grown woman, you shouldn't be talking about nobody's child like that, and you were in in that person's home. And second of all, he is a child. No matter if he's 17 or 18, he's a child. He's still a developing human being. You know, you're really not grown until you're 30. If you want to be honest. So I just felt like that was really disrespectful on her side. So another thing I wanted to touch was when she said they was drinking, and that he was saying, like, pulling B.Love to the side and saying they better not think they stand here or something. She neglected to leave out the fact that there was other people in the house. And I remember those collaborations. It was a guy there named Eat with Dame Dash there, and his family there too. So if you got a house full of people and everybody is drinking, trust me, I'm gonna be looking like, I hope you. Like, I would be thinking that everybody here too. Like, I hope they ain't gonna be staying here tonight, because I'm very territorial. And I really don't like a whole bunch of people up in my house overnight. Like, if we partying, but like after the party over, y'all gotta go. So, seriously, and I'm not even trying to be mean, but y'all got to go. So I definitely can see Nate doing that, even if he said it in a fun way. Well, even if he said it in a fun way, I really definitely can see somebody doing that or thinking that. But I don't necessarily think he did it in a way that made people feel uncomfortable. She maybe have felt uncomfortable because she was already in her feelings, but I don't think he meant it in that way. I felt like if he actually pulled her to the side and was saying things to her, I think that Q was assuming what he was saying. I'm assuming that she really don't actually know what they were talking about. And even if he was pulling her to the side to say that to her, that's his right, that's his home. If he want to share his space and his home with his company for a certain amount of time, that's his prerogative. The video editing thing is something else that kind of concerned me, because she was saying how, she wanted B to cut out certain parts where she was sweating, which she did, but other parts, like with the sauce on her face and everything. And I'm like, girl, like, you had sauce on your face in the whole video. So, like, if she cut out the part where you had sauce on your face, there would be no video. And even in your other videos that you make yourself, you have sauce on your face. So, and she was saying that B did that to make her look bad, and because she knew B.Love life was competition, so she just wanted her to make her look stupid. I feel like that Eat with Q feels that way out of insecurity. She wasn't sure about herself. She knew that she was going on a bigger platform with over 1 million people. She was scared on how people was going to look at her, think that she looked crazy. That's where I think that perception of what she thought B.Love life was trying to do to her image, that's where I think it comes from. I think it comes from insecurity. So another thing that Q was talking about was Nate debating her and her sister about religion. And I wanted to touch on that because I kind of feel like, what do you expect when you're talking about something as controversial as religion? A subject where people have different ideas, concepts of what this thing should be. It's not something solidified. It's not something that's black or white. Religion is very gray area ish, because everybody has their own version of what religion is. And when it comes to religion, a lot of people want you to see it their way. It's usually not like, well, you know,
You might be right, I might be right. Let's just leave it as that.
no, a lot of times when people talk about religion, they think that their thought and their way that they think about religion is how it is. So I don't understand why you don't expect for someone to maybe be a little bit debatable with you about something like the subject of religion. And to me, it's kind of crazy also that she said that she felt as though a man should not be debating with her about anything. Like, how prehistoric is that? That's why can't a man talk to you respectfully about a subject, especially as an adult, and talking adult stuff. She mentioned that her boyfriend doesn't, question her about stuff, and I probably feel like maybe this was a mindset that she grew up into, or maybe she has a life that where people say yes to her or agree with her about a lot of things. Because I was watching a video of hers where she and her boyfriend was eating Five Guys, and she was talking about how she only eats one brand of ketchup. And her boyfriend was like,
Well, to me, ketchup is ketchup.
and she was like,
No.
right? And then he just backed down and was like, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, babe. Maybe ketchup just isn't ketchup. So I think maybe this is just something that she's used to with men or with people in general. People just don't challenge her, which also makes me believe that she's the type of person who needs validation. And I feel like even with that situation, with the town being racist or whatever, I feel like her initial shock was that her feelings wasn't validated. Validation. She was looking for validation through a lot of this situation. So the vibe that I got from Eat with Q is that maybe she's the type of person who's been through a lot socially, and she probably doesn't trust a lot of people, and she doesn't trust a lot of people motives. That's something that she just may have to grow out of, and maybe something that she'll never grow out of. But I would hope that she will, because socially and even business wise, I don't think that you can get too far just by always on defense when it comes to people. She seemed like she's always on the defense, or maybe looking at something about people that's wrong, and then she can come back with the aha, I knew it. Um, or maybe she grew up into a mentality that just really wasn't healthy. Maybe she saw the adults in her life, you know, be this way about people, and it's kind of something that um, she instituted into herself, something that she downloaded into her brain. This video pretty much was about expectations, perceptions, and validation. And what I can say for myself is that validation, perceptions, and expectations has pretty much almost killed me, killed my life. Um, because it's so many times that I've done for people and I felt like they should do the same for me. It's plenty of times I've cut people off because I felt like they didn't care about me the way that I cared about them. It's plenty of times where I was real paranoid about people because I was scared about how they looked at me as a person, or that they wasn't going to be accepting of me. And that's a mentality I really had to grow out of. And since I've grown out of it, my life has gotten so much better. And I can have a better time with relationships, um, friendships, and the relationship that I have with my family, because I'm not pursuing these relationships with fear. I'm not pursuing these relationships with any expectations. The only thing I'm doing is going in and being myself and feeling my way in and out of it. You know, if something doesn't feel right while I'm in it, then I leave it alone. And if it feels right, I keep it going. I remember one time, no, well, this not even, yeah, it's not even one time. It's plenty of times, but I've cut my family off for like a year because I expected them. What I thought family should be, I felt like they were not. So it annoyed me, and I was just like, well, I'm leaving y'all alone. Whole time, this one year was like the littiest year for my family. They was doing all the trips, all the vacations, and I was being stubborn, sitting in the house all summer bored because I was just like, well, they don't treat me the way that I treat them, so I'm just gonna leave them alone. You see? Um, Friendships. I've killed a lot of friendships because I was just annoyed with the fact that I felt like I was being the bestest friend in the whole wide world, and I just wasn't getting that back from my friends. So I was like, you know what? Screw them. They not good friends. But the thing is, like, you just really cannot expect somebody to be what you want them to be. You just can't. They are who they are, and either you accept it or you're not. Either you navigate through it or you can't. Or, you know, like, people are just who they are, and you have to figure out how you fit into their piece, and they have to figure out how you fit into your piece, and y'all have to make it work together. But I feel like only people who are emotionally and mentally strong enough to deal with that are the people that actually succeed in having a good relationship. I kind of feel like it's very high school to look for friends that is exactly like you, because I feel like that's the easy way. I feel like that's not how you're going to grow in your friendship. It's if you have somebody who is exactly like you, who has your same ideals, your same morals, and live the same lifestyle as you. I don't think there's no growth in that. That's just having safety in your social circle. And I'm at the point in my life where I'm not looking for safety. I'm looking for actual growth. I want to become a better person. I want to learn a lot more about myself and the world. And I only can do that with people who's going to challenge me in different ways. So I hope you guys got something out of this video. And I hope I didn't make this video confusing. This is only my second video on YouTube, and I'm trying to get the gist of it. I hope that you like this video. So if you do, please like it and please subscribe. And you also can share it if you want to. Also, leave your thoughts below about what do you think about perceptions, validations, and expectations. Do you think they're a good thing? Do you think they're a bad thing? What has your experience been with them? So until next time, bye bye.